So what else you got in your mind? You want to stay on sports? You want to switch it up?
Well, we got to switch it up.
I mean, we could talk about a little politics, relationships. You know, I'm the taking guy on the set, but
Yeah,
you're the free guy.
I'm taken by myself right now, man. Okay.
You still on your what do you call it? Your journey.
Always on the journey. The journey never ends. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. You're on
Yeah,
a single life journey.
always finding out
No
something new.
special person in your life.
Nope. No special person at all. I mean, well, you know what? If you want to get into the relationship, since you are the one in a relationship, let's get into it. How's the married life, man?
Marriage, man, it's 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 complicated. It's
Complicated.
complicated in the aspect of it's it's different. I don't. When you're single, let me not say that. Let me not say that. It's one of those things where it's a great thing, but at the same time, you can also see where if you're if it's very it's a great thing, but it's also a very difficult thing. But they say everything that's hard, if something was easy, it wouldn't be worth it. And it's not an easy thing.
Right.
It's not an easy thing because opinions differ, belief system differs, personalities differ, and if you don't have the temperament and the patience for each other, it could be a very bad thing. And I think that's where there that we have the new age of people. They've reached that point of understanding where it's like, why do that? Why put myself through it? You know, you're losing your individuality.
I mean, that's very interesting, and I definitely get. I mean, I'm not married, but I could see definitely that it could be a lot of work because it's two completely different people that are, trying to be one. Unless you like really find somebody who's on the same wavelength as you in a lot of areas, and even then, there's still work because everybody has their individuality. But yeah, I mean, I would imagine you definitely. I mean, just from the relationships, you're definitely gonna have your moments where you butt heads and you are not seeing eye to eye, and those are the times where you really gotta be cognizant of a lot of different things, emotions, and how people feel about certain things and how to communicate. Communication is big. Everybody says it. It's cliche, but it's true. Communication is the biggest thing. And
I think even when you try to communicate, it doesn't always go
well,
well.
well, communication is big, but also emotional intelligence and comprehension is big also. Like you got to know who you're with and how to react and how to talk to that person. I
I don't
mean,
even. I personally don't even think that should even matter. I feel as if that you should be able to. You got to find a way of, especially if you're in a long term relationship as you are when it comes to getting married. It should be some type of understanding where even if you disagree, it's alright. It's okay because you're not gonna see eye to eye on everything. You have to have compassion and understanding. And in my relationship, I can say sometimes you find that hard.
right.
It's the way you're brought up is hard. We were brought up in a way where we were expected to understand. Without being told. A lot of times, we had to,
Or you mean and understand without being told?
you know, we had an expectation of doing the right things. So we were, I mean, for us at least, with our younger siblings, it was a little bit different. But with us, we I felt like we were always expected to do the right thing. So we didn't really have, our parents. Well, for me, didn't really have the conversation of this is how you're supposed to do something. You know what I mean? It's like you would see my mother come home and both my parents work, but then my mom would cook, clean, do all. So you would take it as an expectation, as that's what's supposed to be.
Um, I think, well, I could definitely see that. Yeah. I mean, that's what you grew up with and that's what you saw. So that's how you take it as that's how that's supposed to be. But I don't think it has to be that way. I just think
Neither do I.
I just think the two people that are together
Have to have
have
be
to.
able to communicate, and communication doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, sit down and have a 50-minute conversation every day about, we could. I feel like, I don't know. It's this relationships are hard. It's hard because no matter what you do or what you say, you're gonna that person necessarily isn't gonna understand where you're coming from. And sometimes, I've watched couples where, I have a buddy of mine. He's been with his wife since she was 17, 18, something like that,
Mhm.
and they're in love with each other till this day. But at the same time, they have arguments, and when they have arguments, it doesn't need to be okay just because we argued or I yelled or he yelled. They stop talking to each other.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I think that's why I
Um,
say emotional intelligence has a big part to play in it because I've been in relationships where, an argument turns into an argument for the next week or next 2 weeks. And I've been in a relationship where an argument turns into 5 minutes later, we're good and we moved on and we've gotten past it. So, you know, how people communicate, how people react and understand each other is big. Some people just may not do the work to understand the other person or might feel that they're right all the time. And it takes a lot because it takes self awareness of both people and it takes the ability to understand and not overreact and to understand maybe she's being emotional at this moment so maybe I'll let me just chill out for a minute until she gets back rational or vice versa. So I mean it's a lot. It's.
I can say for me, I've always had a short fuse, a very short fuse, and it's like I know myself where if I say leave me alone, it doesn't mean for the day. Just give me a moment,
Right.
and sometimes I'm not given that moment, and when you're not given that moment, now you just feel like you're being attacked,
Yeah.
and then that leads to more of an argument, and then it just leads to a blowout. And I don't I and that's probably one of the hardest things in relationships is people want you to they want you to do things on their time or react on their time, and and that's what I find to be the hardest part in the relationship.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm trying to tell you. Emotional intelligence is a big factor. Like for me, moving forward, that's definitely a big thing. And I'm not saying I have a very high emotional EQ or IQ or whatever, but I definitely know when it makes a difference, especially with people who know how to handle people because at times I can be the same way where I don't really want to talk at the moment and I've been with people who don't understand that. And then I've been with people who understand, all right, I'm gonna just leave them alone. And then like 5 minutes later, I'm good to go. So it really takes both people trying to understand each other and getting to know each other on that level and be like, all right, he's in this way right now, and I understand I don't like that, but I'm gonna just have to chill out for a minute until he gets back into regular mode so I can talk to him or whatever. Like, you know, both gotta just know each other. Not saying y'all both shouldn't improve and get better at those areas, because just because you're like that doesn't mean you have to stay like that. But you just gotta know where you're at all moments.
And I feel like when you're asked for time, it's especially when you're in a relationship. Just because someone asks you to leave them alone, that's not being disrespectful or telling you not to talk to them for the rest of your day or the rest of the week or the rest of the month. It's asking for a moment. And I know in my relationship, that's where the issues come up a lot of the time. You're asking for a moment and you're not giving that moment. And when you're not giving that moment, it's just like it feels like you're just being persecuted for no reason.
But let me ask you a question. When you or anyone asks for that moment, do you say it in a way that is digestible to that person? Because you could just say, just leave me alone. And that could sound kind of crazy. Like, or you could say whatever, like however you say it. And it might sound like, I know a lot of times I say stuff and I don't really think about the way I say it. Sometimes, especially if I'm close to you or I'm cool with you, I might just say something that just like, it just might come out. And I'm just expecting you to understand, like I'm not meaning harm by it. That's just what I'm saying. But when like if I were to record myself sometimes and what I say, I would probably sound crazy as hell to most normal people. But then I'm expecting you to understand, hey, I just need you to chill out for a second. But I might not say it that way, or I might not come off that way, and it might sound crazy. Sometimes like people would say, hey, your tone, the way you say stuff. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't care about the way I say it. I'm this is what I mean. But people, not everybody picks up on that. And tone means a lot. But sometimes I don't pick up on my own tone. So I sound like I can sound real harsh without even trying to be real harsh. I'm just trying to be, I'm thinking I'm regular, like, yo, just, do this. And but to her it sounds like I'm commanding and I'm like yelling or something. I'm like, I'm not even, I'm just, but I know that's something with me, and that's what I got to try to work on and look into.
And I can get that. And I feel like when I do it, I'm trying to prevent me from getting upset or going off about a certain situation. So I know sometimes the way I come out and say things, I'll just be like, yo, leave me alone. And I don't really mean no disrespect by it. I'm not trying to tell you to like to leave me alone. It's just
But this is the way I look at it. If I was saying that to somebody who was like, and I trust me, I'm not the one that is perfect on this, because I definitely say stuff like I said in the past and I don't give a fuck. Like I'll just say it. But like if I was to say like you said, just leave me alone. And then, but when I think, would I talk to somebody else like that, or would I say it to somebody else like that? I was like, unless I was really like somebody else has to really get me that mad, I probably would not say talk to them that way. And then, so you got to think like, all right, so this is the person I'm with, or whatever. I love them, or whatever the case is. I probably should find a better way to say it to them, because if the person that's closest to me, then I should probably treat them a little bit better than I would treat some average Joe.
and that is true because I probably wouldn't say it to my boss or someone I work with, one of my
Right.
employees or something like that. But especially when it comes to my family, shit, I'll tell them to leave me alone in a heartbeat. Like you
Yeah.
know,
But I get that. That's because you're comfortable with them, and that's what
and
we do. When the people we're most comfortable with, we kind of treat the worst
the
when you
worst.
think about it. So
It,
it's
it,
like,
it is true because you know I mean, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like for me it's a little bit different because I'll go off on anybody. I don't, me. I don't care who you are. I'll go
but
off on you if you give me a reason to. And
but is that the right way to handle most situations?
no, not necessarily. That's why I tell people like to leave me alone because I realize I'm not trying to go off. So I want
Yeah.
you to leave me alone. And I feel
Yeah.
like if you've been in a long term relationship, they should know your cues.
Yeah. I mean, I guess after a certain amount of years, you kind of should know the person
like that. Everyone has cues, and in my relationship, I know her cues. So when I feel like it's about to
Start something
start
up.
something, I just walk away and leave it alone
Mm,
because I don't have the capacity, I don't have the time and the headspace anymore for arguing over simple things that doesn't need to be argued over. You know what I mean?
right.
So I feel like you should at least know my cues and know when I'm trying to tell you, to not talk to me or to just to give me a moment.
Right. I mean, that's true. I mean, I've seen people say that, like, they said that communication is not the thing, even though I think that is part of it. But they say like comprehension is a bigger thing because you have to kind of understand and know how to react. Like you can communicate something, but not still comprehend it. Like if you get
And
what I'm
that's the
saying.
biggest thing. That's why I said it's like that's why I said by saying understanding somebody is kind of bigger more than communication because I shouldn't really have to talk to you for you to understand me. Like if we're for instance we're out. If you know I'm ready to go, if you know me, right?
Right. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
my vibe my vibe or how I'm acting should be an indicator of I'm ready to be out without me having to tell you that you're ready to go. You know what I mean? Because I can look at her and know when she's ready to go.
Yeah. I mean that type of stuff. Yeah, especially if you've been together for a certain amount of time. You probably should pick up on that. Like maybe on my younger years, I wouldn't have, but now like I feel like I'm always watching certain things. So like if I see something, I'm like, oh, okay. And I feel like you should be the same towards me too. Like, okay. Because it's most likely I'm gonna be the one who's ready to go. So I'm like but-
And I know for me, I don't know. I feel as if when you make not sacrifices, but when you make adjustments to care for someone, I feel like there's a level of grace that should be given to you, even when that person might be wrong.
well, what do you mean exactly by grace allowed to you
You know,
or whoever?
I don't know if grace is a proper word. It's more of I'll say I'll use myself as an example. I feel like there's so much that I do that sometimes I just need not a break, but I don't even know. I don't know because I sometimes I deal with so much mentally
Hmm.
that I got going on that I really don't just want to talk. I just want to just
So
I
basically,
I
you
feel like all right, we're together. We don't need to talk. You know,
right.
sometimes you just need. Like for me, I can say for me, I'm on the phone dealing with customers and so much work things literally from the minute I get up
Hmm.
till sometimes while I'm sleeping. And I go home sometimes and I just lay here with me. That's it. We don't need to have a conversation. Let's lay here.
Yeah.
And then I'll come home and then there are days I come home and I'm talking. How was your day? And this, that, and the third.
Hmm.
And sometimes I just want to have a dumb conversation, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean,
Not every conversation needs to be a serious one. I'm the kind of person where I'm okay with having a dumb conversation.
yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes, you need time to decompress. So you've just come home from dealing with something serious all day, or, in your case, you deal with people who are, you know, for I mean, you guys have your life on the line technically every day. So, yeah, you want some time for levity or just to chill or just to relax or decompress. There's nothing wrong with that.
And
And
and I know for us, me and her, it's like we're on completely separate schedules right now. My wife's in school a couple days a week. She doesn't get home till late. I try to stay up, because I do worry. You're cutting home late at night, deal with a lot of crazy people on the road, a lot of crazy people that sits there and watches you and all types of things. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I try to stay up, and sometimes that burns me out because I'm up late, so I don't really like the minute I know she's home, I'll just like my mind relaxes
Hmm.
and I just knock out. But then I only get a couple hours of sleep, and then the next day I gotta get up at 1:45
You
and
better
work.
you better than me because my ass would have been sleeping.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like I might not outwardly show it all the time that I care, but I do. You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like sometimes you gotta understand. Like sometimes if I'm just like I gotta get away. I'm about to go chill. Or I'm about to go do this, or I'm about to go do that. That's the type of grace that I say. I think sometimes that you need.
Right. Yeah, I don't think there's an issue with that. I mean, there should be an issue with that, but I think what you got to do is also, I don't know. I want to say everything's kind of like give and take, but everything you kind of got to like, you can't ignore the other person too. So, um and I'm not saying that this happens because I don't know what goes on, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying is like, all right, I need this from you, but I will do this, and this with you, or whatever. Like,
I've been making that conscious effort of not every week or it used to be I try to do it every 2 weeks, but it's kind of down to maybe once a month. Just go out, me and her, no kids. If it's dinner, if it's a movie, whatever. And then we're trying to make it so we're going out, we're not using our phones.
yeah,
For me, sometimes it sucks because I have to be on the phone.
yeah. I could kind of,
So it's like we say no phones, and then next thing you know, I'm getting there, and I'm like, looking at the two damn phones, and I'm entering, I'm text messaging this, and it's like, I get it, I need to. So, but it's getting to the point now where I'm like, you know what? When we do have to spend time together, we gotta just leave the phones alone because when you really think about it, the phones have been the biggest, the one of the greatest things that's happened to humanity, and it's been one of the worst things that's happened to relationships.
for sure, easily. I mean, yeah, when you're with somebody and whatever, even if I like say I went on a date with somebody and I see you on your phone a lot or checking your phone a lot, unless you have like a valid reason, I'm already like, all right, what are you doing so much on your phone that's that important that you
Even
can't
when
like I feel like especially if you're on a date or something because I'm like and it's a new date, like it's a new person, like
and
you
you
should
can't
be
conversate without the phone.
right
That's the crazy
or
part.
you should just be getting to know each other because what else are you there for? Like, there's no other reason to be there but to get to know each other and see if you guys even really want to be with each other. And if you're on your phone, then clearly this is
It's not even that they're on their phone. They're not looking at anything of importance. It's they're checking it's Snapchat, Instagram,
listen.
Twitter,
You gotta
Facebook.
you gotta call from your mom, your sister, your family, or something, or whatever text, whatever. I get it. But if it's like you just like on it, I'm like that's a problem to me.
I don't know. This modern relationships is so hard, and I feel like you know we gotta do it where we can get an opinion. Well, we have it here between you and I, with me being the married father of three, you being the single bachelor, living the good life.
The good life.
You know,
Listen, the grass is always greener on the other side,
says
okay?
who?
The
I've been on
grass
that.
is always greener on the other
you know,
side.
you got a different. What did it call? What's the song called? A different day of every different girl every day of the week, whatever it was.
I don't know about all that. That sounds like a different headache every day of the week to me.
I mean, you know, like I said, relationship. Not even a relationship. A marriage is it's a blessing. You know, I would not trade it.
Hmm.
But trust and believe when I say it's one of the probably, other than work, the most stressful things in the world,
Yeah,
because it's like you're dealing with someone that's not you, that is you're hoping gets you.
right. Well, that's what they say. A lot of people say the biggest decision you'll ever make is who you marry, and financially who you'll marry in a lot of different ways. So that's a key thing. That's somebody who you're going to spend the majority of your time with. So
You know, one of these days we're gonna have to do a live where you guys out there are gonna have to tell us what's your questions. Hit us up with some questions.
yeah,
You got a married guy and a single guy living his best life.
yeah,
Living his best life.
they could hit us up with questions or in the comments.
Give us your comment. You know, it's a great chat today. You know, let's make this a weekly thing.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed myself. Definitely we should well, we're definitely gonna be back again, and we're definitely gonna do this again. So
You know,
yeah,
you're here. We're gonna be. We're gonna keep it real.
number one on the books.
That's it. You know, it's your boy F. Checking out.
And you guys have a good week.
Take care.